Are you ready to see the Green Goliath face off with the Red Hulk? Well, many of us are expecting to happen, but it feels pretty far down the road. And now we're getting some new reports that indicates that World War Hulk project is indeed going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than expected. Plus, we're going to see the Battle of the Gamma Century. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about where the story comes from, what it means for Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and the Red Hulk, and why many of these pieces have been in place for quite a long time. Now, before we do that though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos and want to be your place for all the superhero news, but we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are in the know. Well, one thing about Marvel Studios that's pretty interesting is the fact that we hear about projects for a really long time before they actually get officially announced. The rumor mill is often as wrong as it is right, but one of the things we like to say on this channel is where there's smoke, there's fire, and one place there's been a lot of smoke coming from is World War Hulk. Now, the social media buzz about a possible World War Hulk project over at Marvel Studios has been pretty persistent for the last couple of years. Now, one of the problems is it's not very obvious where this would actually fit in the grander multiverse saga or even in the Marvel Universe after Secret Wars. But one rumor that keeps popping up is that this will be basically World War Hulk in name only, not like the comics, very similar to what Marvel did with Age of Ultron, and believe it or not, new reports seem to indicate a lot of pieces are already in place. Now, this comes via the Cosmic Circus, who's been dropping a lot of Marvel stories in the last couple of days. Now, one thing great about the circus is all of their reporters pretty much put themselves out there. They're not anonymous, and they stand by the stories and even admit when they're wrong, and I found this one particularly fascinating because we keep hearing about this event. Now, what the team over at the circus is saying is that the World War storyline has had groundwork laid for quite a while within the Marvel Universe, and we're talking about a lot of projects. Spider-Man Far From Home, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Eternals, Black Widow, Miss Marvel, No Way Home, She-Hulk, Black Panther, and Secret Invasion. Now, apparently what the plot is going to revolve around is that the fear that world leaders have of superheroes, and because the Avengers are basically no more, this has led to somewhat of a classic arms race for them to create their own superheroes. This actually explains one thing in Wakanda Forever that people found weird, which was France's decision to try to steal the Vibranium from Wakanda and the C.I.A.'s attempt to get their own hands on the precious metal. Now, one plot point that we keep hearing about Brave New World is it will definitely see multiple countries make an attempt to capitalize on the celestial Tiamat that apparently will be made of pure adamantium. Combine this with the fact that the Thunderbolts looks to introduce the ultimate super soldier, the Sentry, well, there are a lot of pieces in place, and it does lay the groundwork for this particular kind of story. Now, apparently, this all comes to a head in the upcoming Captain America feature, because the leader is expected to be creating superhumans for both the US government and Thunderbolt Ross himself, who we all are expecting to be the Red Hulk. Now, on the site, they actually say, quote, Marvel Studios is setting up a World War Hulk project, but not in the way people would expect. The idea is for Bruce Banner, who teased the dangers of the Hulk's blood back in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, to finally see his worst nightmare come to life, the United States government and governments of the world creating their own Hulks. This might be the breaking point for Banner and could see the return of the Savage Hulk people have been wanting for so long as he goes toe-to-toe with President Ross as Red Hulk, which I'm being told will happen sooner rather than later. Now, this particular rumor of the Hulk fighting an army of Hulks, well, that's been floating around for about a year. And I find it very interesting that type of story seems to have progressed and filled in a lot of the gaps and the holes. Now, the last part of this is also super exciting because it absolutely suggests that we don't have long to wait for these storylines to start playing out, and tends to make me believe Marvel is leaning into event films that will happen before but stand apart from Secret Wars. Now, it's pretty easy to go through some of these projects and see all the various groundwork laid for this, and for me, it's one of those things that makes you say, because we've been waiting for the Hulk's rights to return to Marvel Studios. If you remember correctly, Universal had distribution rights on the character, and that's why we weren't getting a solo movie. And it almost sounds like Marvel knew this was going to happen, started laying the groundwork along the way in anticipation of the Jade Giant returning, and it would be pretty funny if we had a whole World War arc that we were already in the middle of, and we didn't even know was happening. Now, it's obviously a significant departure from what happened in the comics, which saw the Hulk square off with Marvel Comics Illuminati, but I wasn't really expecting that to happen given the characters that exist in this particular world. I would love to see a return of the Savage Hulk in the Marvel Universe, kind of bringing him full circle. That's happened multiple times in the comics as the character has evolved over the decades, and it's one of the things that always keeps those stories interesting, because even when the Hulk manages to make his way out of the Savage Zone, there's always something that drags him back in, and it seems like this time it might be Thunderbolt Ross. What do you guys think? What do you think of this new variation on World War Hulk? And do some of these stories now make a little more sense now that it seems we're leading into this event film? Tell me what you think in the comments below.